news networks are not even getting clicks like that. So this shows like there's an opportunity for this, what we're doing here on this show.
Something to back check, kind of
Oh
like cross
yeah,
reference.
It's a
yeah. I
precursor. It's
should put the
You say you look that shit up. That's the name of your
yeah.
show.
You're
That's what
right.
really drew me in.
I think it reveals like quote unquote top secret information. But again, like I say, the data is there. You just have to dig, and it's a lot of it is just not popular. You know, I mean, it's buried. They bury it. That's what they do. So if you want to know like the truth about this, that, and the other, whatever the narrative is they're giving you, that's only a tiny, teeny little parcel of it. Best to believe it, and don't doubt me on that. Dig a little bit further into that narrative and try to see what more information you can uncover, because like I say, the data is there. It's just they bury it, so you just have to, they know that people are lazy. They know you're not going to put no effort in it, and that you're just going to take the word of the person on MSNBC and CBS. So but you could surprise them. You can surprise them because they think you're stupid. They think you're dumb. They think you're not smart enough. They think you're lazy. They think you don't care. So they put all the information out there. It's there. And then they laugh at you. They laugh at you because they're like, it's all right there. Like, you don't know this shit. Like, we're not even trying to hide it. Like, it's right here, bro. Just look at it. And you're like, do, 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 and you don't know nothing about it. So they just laughing at you. Like, look at you. Look at your dumbass. Look at you scuttling in your fucking crud. Look at you scuttling in your fucking filth. You're fucking, that's why we take advantage of you. This is why right here. Because you just can't get your shit together. Look at you. You just fucking don't even know what the fuck is going on at all. So, yes, we're taking advantage of you, and we're just going to continue to do it because you're lazy and you don't care and you're stupid. I don't think that's true. You know, it's weird how the value of the person is valued on like how much money they made or what job they have or even the degrees they have. Now, the value of a person, you know, that's one of the things we're going to talk about. What is human? You know, so it's like the idea of, like I say, where you came out of your mom's womb determines, you know, your value. How much money your parents had determines your value, you know. And it's like, you know, the whole thing about money is like, you know, so if you value money and you want to make a whole bunch of money and you hoard it, then you're a high value person. You don't care about money that much and you don't care about hoarding money, then you're a low value person. I'm not saying that's true. I'm saying that's the way society looks at it. That's how people feel overall. And because that's the narrative and that's what we've been trained. That's how we've been trained to think. But it's not true. It's not true. But it's so hard. It's so hard, right? It's so hard. And then people embrace this idea. You know, okay, yeah, I'm waddling in the filth. I was born in the filth. I guess I'm just, this is gonna be it. I guess I ain't shit. So then people take on that persona and then therefore they behave that way and they you know they project that because they're like, I ain't shit anyway. So they lie, they cheat, they steal. They don't have no integrity. It's like whatever happened to integrity? Whatever happened to somebody standing up for their word? You know what I'm saying? Whatever happened to people standing on their square? You know, standing up for what they believe in. You know what I'm saying? You know, what happened to character? You know, like everybody not the same, you know? I feel like, you know, all humans deserve human rights. All humans deserve human rights, but we're not all the same. You can't treat us all the same. You can't treat a man the same way you treat a woman. Like I had a like an argument with my ex one time about like, you know, she's like, you know, you treat the kids the same, but I'm like, you know, I mean that sounds good in words. In reality, it isn't. Like for a specific example, is you have a daughter, I have a daughter. It's totally acceptable for my daughter to sleep in the bed with me at night. It would not be acceptable for your daughter to sleep with me in the bed at night, right? I can't. So you cannot treat them the same. This is it goes back to what I'm talking about as far as character. A person that always takes care of business. They do what they say they're gonna do. They're on time when they say they're gonna be on time. They you can rely on this person. If you need something, you can go for them. That what I'm trying to say is that's a character. You know what I'm saying? You have the other guy over here, never on time, you never shows up, doesn't take care of business, doesn't do what he's supposed to do, doesn't tell the truth. That's a character. So you cannot treat these two people the same way. That is disrespectful, especially to that guy who stands on his square. You're disrespecting him by treating him like this guy who doesn't. These two people are not the same. What's up, Pat?
What's up? What's up? I tried to be here on time.
I'm not talking about you, Pat. We talking about society in general. You're on time. The show is scheduled to be at 1. It's 12:54. What they say in the military: early, on time, late. How does it go? If you're early,
Yeah,
you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. Something like that.
yeah, something like that.
And and then they have that thing where they say hurry up and wait. It's funny how I know all this military stuff, and some of the stuff I be talking, I know the military guys out there be hearing me because of the lingo, but I ain't never been in the military, but I came from a military family, so I know a bit about this, that, and the other. I ain't never been under hot fire, so no, I don't know what that is like at all. So I'm not gonna say I really know, but I know some of the lingo.
Yeah, my dad was in the military, but he never really
Didn't
talks
really
about
talk
it.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, my dad didn't really talk about like specifics either, but I think that when you're around people that have been in the military, it's just their words, the way they talk, the way they carry themselves. Weapons, I bet you know about weapons.
some, um,
My
a
dad was
bunch of
teaching me about
a bunch of my
weapons when I
friends
was
went.
really small. Really
Yeah, a
small.
bunch.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would just say a bunch of my friends went, and they didn't really talk a whole lot about, especially into war. Now, if it was something they were stationed in a place and it wasn't a war, whatever, they would talk more about it because it was
Yeah, around their
fun.
buddies. And I've been in there in a room before where I heard him talking with his buddies and stuff. That's the only time you get to hear anything because they don't talk about it. It's so traumatic. That's why I don't want to go, man. Fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. I love the United States. I love this country. But I'd be goddamned if I go fight some war for some private corporation and go kill some brown people because they want to steal their resources. Like, as you can see in the video, ain't nobody in the fucking chamber with him, probably. He in there by himself. Ain't nobody hearing or seeing this, and nobody gives a fuck. He is
They don't
pointing out the
care.
obvious. Yeah.
They don't care, bro. He's pointing out the obvious, but the interest, America is so, in my personal opinion, America is so fucking far gone. They're so far removed from humanity and human life, bro. Like they truly are. You know
It's
what I'm saying?
scary. It's
Yeah.
scary.
And look at the way that they treat people, man. Look at how everything now is criminal. You know, anything that you do or say, it's just nobody's good anymore in their eyes. Nobody knows anything. And that shit that Bernie Mac is preaching, he's stating the obvious, but they don't give a fuck, bro. They don't care that there's homeless. They don't care that there's literally we're facing a famine. They don't give a fuck. As long as they
That
line
they're
the pockets of the people who,
and
who
and and
support them.
it seems like they would care because like he's talking about us fucking the taxpayers fucking funding Jeff Bezos and old buddy from Tesla
Yeah.
to do a
Musk.
space
Musk.
race.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we're subsidizing this. Like that should make you mad, bro. They're gonna own the private. Like this is the future. They're gonna make a whole bunch of money off of this shit. That's why they did those space flights and they made it so public and all the news coverage was covering it. Everybody wants to like Sure, it will be fun. It looks fun to me. But boom, it's a business. They're gonna be making a bunch of money. So they're gonna privately own. And then he was talking about, wait a minute. In the other video that I'm gonna play, he talked about satellites in the future, I wanna say. And he was talking about how the person that, or was that Bernie? I'm mixing the videos up. Fucking the person in the future that's gonna be the first trillionaire is the person that like controls this, like the space, like unlimited fucking minerals that you can get from asteroids and shit. But that's gonna be owned by a private company, but it's gonna be financed by your ass and my ass.
Yeah.
And that person is gonna be a trillionaire.
I mean, honestly, we all should have stock in pretty much at least every major corporation there is. Like, we should be, automatically shareholders of these different companies.
Especially if they're getting a bunch of fucking money from the taxpayers, where's
Well,
our dividend? Where's our
Especially
payback?
if they're subsidized, then
That's
that,
where that's where the communism or socialism argument comes in, because people say, "Oh, you want to be a communist," But no, I just want a return on my damn investment. You took this money out of my pocket. Where's my dividends?
all the resources that you robbed from our land, you selling it internationally, different places around the world, and
Yeah.
making big banks, making
Where's
profits.
where's my kickback? I don't get no kickback on that. You
Yeah.
took money out of I made the investment. Can I get some of that you made off of that? Damn. That's too much to ask, right? That's crazy talk. That's communism. You're a socialist. Well,
Yeah,
anyways, let me play a bit of Bernie. I don't want to put y'all to sleep. I know Bernie is dry and boring. I'm not gonna play that much of this.
2 roll call votes. The first motion would instruct the conference committee not to provide $53 billion to the highly profitable microchip industry without protections for the American people. The second motion would instruct conferees not to provide a $10 billion bailout to Blue Origin, a space company owned by Jeff Bezos, the second wealthiest person in America, who is also the owner of Amazon. Amazon is a company which in a given year pays nothing, zero in federal income taxes, after making billions in profits. And by the way, in a given year, Mr. Bezos himself, one of the wealthiest people in the country, has paid nothing in federal income taxes, despite being worth nearly $200 billion.
So me, you, everybody listening pays more taxes than him or his company.
Bro, it's funny y'all talking about this shit, right? Hey, I'm actually sitting here in Van Horn waiting to go into his facility. I'm going there to deliver hydrogen.
You crossing the picket line.
Yeah.
Let me be very clear. Mr. Bezos has enough money to buy a very beautiful $500 million yacht. Looks very nice to me. Not that I know much about yachts, but it does look very nice. Mr. Bezos has enough money to purchase a $23 million mansion with 25 bathrooms. Not quite sure you need 25 bathrooms, but that's not my business.
Hey, let me
And
pause.
here is
Hey, that reminds me of a Lil Wayne song where he say, I got 10 bathrooms, shit all day, some shit like that.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos be shitting all day, huh?
For real.
The nigga he probably don't go into 25 of them hoes. He only use one. All the rest of them are just sitting there.
Look, Caremio,
Yeah.
you know the historian.
So why do you need that many bathrooms, bro? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Pat.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm sorry.
yeah, no, the you know, was this Caremio? How I don't know the guy, the
Crimea? Oh, you talking
Karem
about a person? Oh,
Caremio, the guy that does those historical videos about Americas. I seen you sometimes.
oh yeah, 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 yeah.
He's got a video similar to that I end up was watching when you sent me this one, which was like pretty crazy
The
to me.
the universe, the randomness of the universe,
But
the alignment. Go ahead.
yeah, but they were talking about the people that was in Europe and you know some the ones that were of the past, the ones that were really recognized in books talk about the people and their identity and things like that. Um, Caremio was talking about, you know what I'm saying? It's like, look, these were swarthy people. This was not Africa. This was Europe. This was, because like these are people that, um, it's like even showing where Columbus was a black guy, but from Europe, from, well, Portugal or whatever. But that's,
What they would call black today, because
yeah,
that's the thing that people don't understand is that in the past they didn't have these labels like this. That's why the language causes a lot of confusion when you say white, black. If you would have said that to those people back then, they would say, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
yeah. Why do you keep calling me that?
No, count me in as somebody who does not think that the taxpayers of this country need to provide Mr. Bezos a $10 billion bailout to fuel his space hobby. When all is said and done, both of these motions, the one on $53 billion for the microchip industry and the $10 billion for Mr. Bezos, touch on an extremely important issue that is very rarely discussed in the corporate media or on the floor of the Senate. And that is how we proceed, how we go forward with industrial policy in this country. I should be very clear in saying I believe in industrial policy. I believe that it makes sense in certain occasions for the government and the private sector to work together in a mutually beneficial way to address a pressing need in America. Industrial policy, to me, means cooperation between the government and the private sector.
If Bernie wasn't so dry, he would have been president. God.
In other words, will the U.S. government develop an industrial policy that benefits all of our society, or will we continue to have an industrial policy that benefits just the wealthy and the powerful? In 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, and I quote, "The problem is that we all too often have socialism for the rich and rugged free enterprise capitalism for the poor."
Yep.
I am afraid that what Dr. King said 54 years ago was not only accurate back then, it is even more accurate today. We hear a lot of talk around here about the need to create public-private partnerships, and that all sounds very good. But when the government adopts an industrial policy that socializes all of the risk and privatizes all of the profits, whether it
Okay, dry as Bernie Sanders, but he's socialize all the risk and privatize all of the profit. Basically, That's how they do it. It's like a lot of the research and development is public funded. But then once that thing finally gets developed, some private company owns the patent to it and they get all the profit from it. And it's just insane. I wish the people would understand this more. I mean, it's really simple. Like Deuce said, it's really common sense. It's like, but I don't think people know this. I really don't. Because the media is not telling you this. Like, just like in this clip, ain't nobody in the video, ain't nobody in the chamber, ain't nobody listening to this. Nobody heard this shit. Nobody cares.
I mean, that's just like they just had that World Government Summit in Dubai, which many people I don't think even knows that just happened, and they're discussing our lives and how they're going to govern us going forward into the future. You know what I'm saying? They're going through all these deep conversations of, how not, if they're going to do it, how they're going to do it, because they are doing it. Like it's at that point.
Yeah,
So
it's in game now.
It is handing the microchip industry a $53 billion blank check, or giving Mr. Bezos a $10 billion bailout to fly to the moon. That is not a partnership. That is the exact opposite of a partnership. That is corporate welfare. That is crony capitalism. Mr. President, each and every day, I have heard my Republican colleagues and some corporate Democrats blame inflation on runaway government spending. In fact, one of my colleagues in the Democratic caucus has even suggested that we need to take a strategic pause when it comes to making urgent federal investments in childcare, healthcare, education, affordable housing, paid family and medical leave, and home health care. Policies that would substantially improve the lives of the American people. Well, you know what I believe, Mr. President? I believe that maybe, just maybe, the time has come to take a strategic pause when it comes to providing tens of billions of dollars in corporate welfare to some of the most profitable corporations and wealthiest people on this planet.
Why does it even happen? Why do we give a bunch of money to Walmart every year, a bunch of money to Amazon every year? It's coming out of taxpayers' pocket. Amazon, why?
Because this is a part of the plan to rob America. Like the same thing they were doing when they came here is the same thing they're doing today.
Extorting resources, like taking advantage of the peasants, taking advantage
it wasn't like they gave a damn about America, like they just loved America. No, they heard there was some money over here. They want to get over here and get it.
Period. Milk and honey. I like milk and honey.
They can't eat
Mr.
all
President,
the milk and honey.
The American people are becoming increasingly sick and tired of corporations making record-breaking profits while ordinary people struggle to pay outrageously higher prices for gas, for rent, for food.
And they was freezing and starving over there too at that time. They was like, milk and honey.
Yeah.
But I feel like they do
What?
that shit in other countries. Because you look at,
Go ahead. What'd you say?
they do
What'd you
the
say?
same shit
You're
in Iraq and all that other shit, bro.
yeah. All over the world. It's the same play. Like Pat says, it's the same play. They run the same play.
They are sick and tired of the high cost of prescription drugs, childcare, housing, groceries. They are sick and tired of CEOs making 350 times more than the average worker, while over half of our people live paycheck to paycheck. The American people are sick and tired of the wealthiest people in our country and the most profitable corporations, in some cases, not paying a nickel in federal income tax. And what does this so-called competitiveness bill do? Instead of addressing any of these issues, this bill provides $53 billion in corporate welfare to the microchip industry with no protections for the American people, and a $10 billion bailout to Mr. Bezos. Now, that may make sense to Mr. Bezos, and it may make sense to other corporate leaders, but it does not make sense to me, nor do I think it makes sense to the American people.
Definitely doesn't make any fucking sense to me. The fuck? You got hungry ass kids out here, but you giving 50 billion to, well, 10 billion to Bezos. Boom. Here you go, Bezos. $10 billion. Do with it what you will. And we fighting homeless encampments under the freeway.
Yeah. What's it gonna? And that space exploration shit, like he said, pretty much it's a hobby, dog. Like it's a hobby, you know. Like they're charging people $1 million to go up and come back down. I think it's like the total trip is like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, some shit like that. $1 million, bro. They just had a launch last week. You know.
That's why I say
I don't know what kind of bailouts they're giving to Elon Musk, but I don't ever hear anybody in the government talking about the government giving Elon Musk money. You know, I know he supposedly has that contract where he's taking those satellites up to space for the new internet system that we're on the brink of. But
well, that's how it works. Bernie touches on it in this video. You know, a lot of it is private, like the rockets that, you know. So, okay, so they pay Elon Musk to get them to the space station or to launch them into space or whatever. He has like the rockets or he has whatever the hell equipment or whatever. So, but still, what you have to understand is that's government money that's paying him. You understand? That's how it works. Yeah, that's how it works. Because like the way they land or something, don't get me wrong. I wish Doc was here to fact check me, but that's how it works. They pay private, you know. Elon Musk has these rockets and so forth and so on. Not everything that NASA does, they have like, let's say the equipment for or whatever. So then they pay private people to handle it. And Elon Musk is the main person that they go to for that kind of stuff. So that's boom. That's just funneling money in his pocket. He's like, okay, I want to go to the space station. Boom, I got you. 10, whatever it is, what the price is.
Yeah, because NASA don't really go to space anymore. I don't think we have any. I don't think they go up there like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know how that works. It's so confusing. But I wish, like I say, somebody could clear that up a bit for us. But what I do know, like you said, I don't think NASA really goes. It's always private, a private entity that's providing whatever.
Mr. President, in terms of the microchip industry, the American people should know the truth. We are talking about an industry that has shut down over 780 manufacturing plants in the United States and eliminated 150,000 American jobs over the last 20 years as a result of moving their production overseas. Shut down plants in America, moved overseas for cheap labor. In other words, in order to make more profits, these companies closed plants in America and hired people sometimes at starvation wages in other countries. And now, believe it or not, these very same people, very same companies are in line to receive $53 billion in corporate welfare to literally undo the damage that they caused. Now, some of my colleagues make the point that the microchip industry is enormously important for our economy and that we must become less dependent on foreign nations for microchips. I agree. There is no argument about that. But we can and must accomplish that goal, breaking our dependence on foreign countries for microchips. We must accomplish that goal without simply throwing money at these huge corporations while the taxpayer gets nothing in return.
And why they can't manufacture that shit here? That's one of our biggest problems. It's like we don't manufacture shit. It's because each company wants to do it the cheapest way. It's the race to the bottom. So fuck it. Outsource the manufacturing. It's cheaper.
It's crazy, bro. Yeah, when you think about all of the shit on your cars and your trucks, you know, think about how much of that shit come on your vehicle comes from Germany, China, all these other countries. On a vehicle that's supposed to be American made.
Yeah. A lot of our vehicles aren't American made, even when they say it is. They assemble it here and they get the parts from overseas. So
Yeah.
it was really manufactured overseas and assembled in America.
Yeah.
That's not the fucking same thing.
From it. In 2021, Intel made nearly $20 billion in profits. We are talking about a company that he had enough money to spend over $14 billion during the pandemic, not on research and development, but on buying back its own stock to reward its executives and wealthy shareholders. We are talking about a company that could afford to give its CEO, Mr. Pat Gelsinger, a $116 million compensation package last year. We are talking about a company that could afford to spend over $100 million on lobbying and campaign contributions over the past 20 years. Does it really sound like this company, as well as the others, really needs corporate welfare? I don't think so.
Nope.
And another company that will receive taxpayer assistance under this legislation is Texas Instruments. Last year, Texas Instruments made $7.8 billion in profits. In 2020, this company spent $2.5 billion buying back its own stock, while it has outsourced thousands of good-paying American jobs to low-wage countries and spent more than $40 million on lobbying over the past 20 years. That's Texas Instruments, and on it goes. So the First Amendment that I would like a vote on and expect a vote on would instruct the conference committee to prevent microchip companies from receiving taxpayer assistance unless they agree to issue warrants or equity stakes to the federal government. If private companies are going to benefit from over $53 billion in taxpayer grants, the financial gains made by these companies must be shared with the American people, not just wealthy shareholders.
What's the chances of that happening?
I don't know, bro. But you know, I didn't pay attention to it not being anybody in there, and I'm just sitting there like thinking about that shit, bro. Just like they there for everything else, but they not there to hear this bullshit. I mean, and this is not bullshit. So let me rephrase. They're
yeah,
not here to hear this informative information.
yeah. And that's why I say, well, my question was, what are the chances of any of that shit happening? Ain't nobody in the room.
Oh,
Ain't
they
none of
know
that.
he talking about it. They they they
But
they
but
broadcasting that shit. They
but
listening
it
to it from their private offices.
but it's zero chance of any of it happening.
in
Zero.
America as to who will gain control over NASA and future space explorations. In other words, if we are able to accomplish the unbelievable, extraordinary goal of sending a person to Mars, I want the flag that will be flying on that planet to be the flag of the United States of America, not the flag of SpaceX or Blue Origin. And Mr. President, let us be clear. The $10 billion in this bill for Jeff Bezos and his space company, Blue Origin, is just the tip of the iceberg. The reality is that the space economy, which today mostly consists of private companies using NASA facilities free of charge to launch satellites into space, is already very profitable and could become, and will likely become, even more so in the future. Bank of America predicts that by 2030, the space economy will triple in size to $1.4 trillion. That's trillion with a T. According to the most recent data, private corporations make over 94 billion made over 94 billion in profits a year from goods or services that are used in space. Profits that could not have been achieved without the assistance of NASA, a government agency funded by the taxpayers of America. And while we are talking about the profitability of satellites today, and that's already a very profitable industry, sometime in the future, not next year, not 10 years from now, but sometime in the future, the real money may come to those who not only provide satellites, but those who figure out how to mine lucrative minerals on asteroids. Does this sound like science fiction? It is not. This is exactly what is being worked on right now, mining lucrative minerals on asteroids. In 2015, the famous astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson predicted that, and I quote, the first trillionaire there will ever be is the person who exploits the natural resources on asteroids. There's this vast universe of limitless energy and limitless resources. I look at wars fought over access to resources. That could be a thing of the past once space becomes our backyard. End of quote, Mr. deGrasse Tyson. Mr. President, who gets to own the resources discovered by private corporations in space? Well, as a result of a little-known 2015 Space Act that passed the Senate by unanimous consent with virtually no floor debate, private corporations are able to own all of these resources. In other words, the taxpayers of this country will get a 0% return on the investment they made in these private enterprises, which could turn out to be unbelievably lucrative.
Okay, that's enough for Bernie. What say y'all?
I think, yeah, maybe, because I mean, there's a lot of time, like, we got to be careful sometimes about what we're putting our energy behind and into, because there's a lot of programs that's out here that we believe to be out, to help us, but it ended up, maybe doing the opposite, actually hurting us, or I don't know. But on the surface, I'm gonna say yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, the simple thing is that, you got taxpayer funds. Everybody understands NASA, and I skipped the part of what he was talking about. He talked about the man on the moon, but let's not get into the controversies of, if they ever win or whatever. Just the idea of the taxpayers funding something like that. You know what I'm saying? And then a private corporation benefiting from it. It costs a whole lot of money to send somebody into space or whatever. And these people been working on the math and shit for years and years and years. All of these people get paid salary from the government. So then some private person gets to own all of that work, years and years and years of work. The people to get no fucking nothing back out of it. And then they just sell that same thing back to us. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the overall point. And do these corporations need all these fucking money every fucking year? Why are we giving them so much money? And if we are, how come we don't see no return on that? Everybody else wants a return on their investment. How come the American people don't get returns on their investments? Y'all are making investments in our name. You taking our money basically without our consent, fucking extorting us. At least you could do is give us some kickbacks.
You think I'm like a youngster that's lost his lollipop?
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
about to move into that heavy stuff. But yeah, it makes me angry. And I think that this is what will and is going to cause a revolution. This topic right here. Because really, if people understood this stuff, they would literally be in the streets, burning shit the fuck up. How the fuck y'all taking my money, flipping it, and then fucking like selling the shit back to me? And then buying back your stocks and just getting richer and richer. And your ass didn't even make the seed investment.
Exactly. Like they solely use your money, which I mean really that's insane. That's why like leaving money in the bank, trying to save money really isn't like the best strategy, especially for right now. Man, it's
really insane. And I really think people don't understand it, because I think if people did, I think they would just be, I mean, how can you not be mad at this? How can this not get you upset?
you don't understand it.
Yeah. Because if you understood it, you have to be mad. It has to make you angry.
Yeah, I mean, because there's too many other things that we definitely could use those resources for, but it never gets put into place to truly discuss it as a thing that's really beneficial to the people and not just the corporations or whoever might be the closest on that project. But yeah, I say the same thing. It's kind of hard not to get pissed off about it once you realize what's really, what's not just happening, but what's been happening and most likely will continue to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I wake up angry thinking about stuff like that. I ain't gonna lie. I think about slavery, and I think about all the money they made during slavery, and how that money is still in their bank account. And they've been flipping it this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
That's hot shit right there, man.
So what we gonna do?
We want you to be an activist. And don't take our word for it. Look that shit up. Pulley.